Welcome to the final session of Amplify 2021. The last 2 days have been remarkable. We've heard so much from so many speakers about how to improve brokerages, how to improve your brokerages. I've been in the business for a lot of years, and there's been so much change that's happened over the last few years, and it's accelerating. Pandemic has certainly accelerated so much for us, especially on the front of technology. And really, that's what we're all about. That's what Trufla is all about. It's all about the technology for you, for brokers, for brokerages. How do we advance the interests of brokerages using technology to prove that we are the best way to distribute insurance in the industry, period? Over the last few years, Trufla has built a lot of different tools. We've built so many different technologies to advance brokers, to advance how brokers, sell better and more efficiently. So I'm so excited to announce so many of the new features that we're going to be introducing this year, things that we're launching this year at Trufla. First thing I want to introduce is Truescore. Now, Truescore is not a new tool for us. It's not something that, that just got introduced. In fact, we've used Truescore and its capabilities with over 1,000 brokerages across Canada. Now, for those of you that don't know what Truescore is, let me introduce it to you. Truescore is a tool that we built a number of years ago that assesses a broker's digital aptitude. But not just their digital aptitude, but their sales aptitude as well. So what it allows a brokerage to do is to see everything they've done digitally and if there's actually been a return on that investment and how they rank digitally against their peers. Basically looking at what some of the best brokerages in the digital space are doing and comparing them. And what we've done is we've broken brokers down into 6 different segments. Everything from those who are really just getting started up to your really digitally advanced brokerages. The tool gets used regularly by brokerages, but we thought, well, we'd like to give brokers a little more. We'd like to give brokers a little more functionality, a little bit more power to be able to really see what's going on in their brokerages. One of the most popular features inside of Truescore was something that we did that we didn't really think a lot about, which was our mystery shopping. So we actually set up a mystery shopping kind of program for the brokerage who does the mystery score. Very, very basic. But what we do is we send in quote requests into the brokerage, and then we monitor and see what the response time is for that brokerage. We do it with a couple of different product lines right now, and then we include it in the Truescore report. But then we started getting requests from brokers saying, hey, I'd really like to do this a little bit more. I'd like to get a little bit more insight as to what is happening in my brokerage with respect to requests that come in. So it's one thing to be able to manage a lead that comes in, but are my people actually responding to the leads? How quick are they responding? What is happening there? So we're so pleased to introduce that right away, available right away. We're expanding Truescore to be able to offer mystery shopping in a much bigger way. A brokerage will be able to request mystery shopping services for different lines of business. So whether it's home, commercial, auto, RV, recreational vehicles, whatever it is, you get to determine. We'll do monthly mystery shopping in your brokerages by sending in requests, anonymized requests, so they won't know that it's us that's actually sending in the request. And we'll give you a detailed report every quarter on every request that came in. What was the request? How quick was it responded to? Who responded to it? Really giving you additional insights in your brokerage to be able to understand, first and foremost, those requests that are coming in, are they being tended to? Or are you leaving money on the table? Is there money that's being lost? Because we know that in a digital world, it's really expensive to drive a lead. And so if that opportunity comes to your site or phones in or whatever, are they actually being tended to? So we're going to be able to give you that information. And we actually did a lot of research in this to see, is this actually available? We know a lot of industries do this kind of service. They do these kinds of mystery shops, but it's never actually been done in the insurance industry, at least nothing that we could find. So we're going to be able to offer this service to you along with your Truescore report. So not only are you getting insights on what your digital aptitude is, but you're actually going to get insights into what happened with each individual lead. We'll be able to customize the program specifically for you. So if you only want a few or you want many, and you want it across different product lines, whatever it may be, we can do that for your brokerage and give you insights that you've really never had. Plus, on top of that, we'll actually spend time with you every quarter, working with you, looking at those insights, looking at those results to help you see what you need to do to tweak to be able to get better results. And ultimately, those better results is better conversion. Can you convert those leads and drive more sales through your brokerage? That's ultimately what we're trying to do. That's the whole point of the mystery shop. It gives you that intelligence to be able to sell more. So we'll walk you through it and say, okay, if you make a tweak here or a tweak here, or if you add a tool here, whatever it may be, we'll be able to provide those insights because we have that experience. We know it. Like I said, we've done this for 1,000 brokerages. So we've got really good insights to be able to give you, to be able to take your brokerage to a whole different level. So first announcement was Truescore, and now we're going to get into the next announcement, which I am stoked about. I think this is actually one of the most important announcements we're going to make, and I'm thrilled that this is already available now. We're ready to go with it. One of the things we get asked often by brokers is, can you help me drive more leads into my brokerage? Well, we had a session yesterday with Justin Thuin from Lowest Rates about how to drive more opportunities into your brokerage. And one of the things we talked about was how difficult it is to optimize your website, to do search engine optimization, to be able to drive organic leads into your brokerage. One of the things we learned over the last year or so is that Google has slowly started changing its algorithm, and data is now kind of one of the most important things. So we decided, well, what can we do? What can we use for data, using data, to be able to take a broker's SEO program, their search engine optimization program, their digital marketing program, take it to a whole different level, take it to a level that typically is only reserved for large organizations like banks, insurance carriers, really large brokerages, or aggregators, right? And using that data to be able to really supercharge and put your search engine optimization program on steroids to a point that Google is just looking at and saying, wow, these guys here, when a client is searching for a certain type of keyword, that is important. And one of the things that the change that Google has made is that anytime somebody's searching for something, so if they're searching for car insurance in Toronto or in Calgary, for example, what they've deemed is that the insured is actually asking, what is the price? So if you can offer data around pricing quickly and make it relevant, your rankings start to go up heavy. And to explain that more, I wanted to bring in our VP of digital and innovation, Dave Duncan, who is going to help explain this a little bit more. Dave, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Sharif. Really looking forward to what I have to announce today. First, I'll start off by just letting you know who I am. So my name's Dave Duncan. I am the Vice President of Digital and Operations with Trufla. I've been with Trufla for the last 3 years, working with brokers across Canada and around the world. And I have a background in helping organizations improve their operations with technology. So that has been the focus of my career, and that's what I'm focusing on with Trufla. So what we're doing today is announcing a new module that we're bringing to our TrueWeb product. So our TrueWeb product is a platform that builds and operates broker websites for brokers around the world. So we have dozens of brokers on the platform right now. It provides modules and capabilities that let brokers deliver kind of the functionality and capabilities that they need in order to engage with their audience. Today what we're doing is we're bringing out our data module. So as Sharif mentioned, Google is always looking at the data that is presented and the experience that is presented online, and the data module allows us to tap into our rich data repositories and aggregate that data into data that can be presented and refreshed on your website.
Dave, can I just interrupt you for a minute? So when you say analyze the data, I think what you mean is like the system will do the analysis. The broker gets to determine what data they want to present on the website. Is that right?
That's right, Sharif. So it allows you to go into the back end. It allows you to create a rich snippet of data that you can present on your website anywhere that information is relevant. So, for instance, if you're looking at the average policy price for auto in Ontario or in a market like Toronto or Whitby, you can actually pull a data snippet that gives you that piece of information, allows you to put it anywhere on the site that is relevant to the user, and then the system in the back end will update that information.
Dave, just to make sure everyone clearly understands that. So if I want to set a page on my site, for example, that's specific to car insurance, right? And I decide I want to put certain content on my site that says the average cost of car insurance if you are between 20 and 30 to 50, or the average type of car insurance for different makes and models of vehicles. I'll be able to customize the content on my site and then plug in this data that'll refresh constantly based on whatever the content is that I want to display. Does that sound right?
That's correct, Sharif. So in essence, you can create that valuable content. And because the changing algorithm on Google, they're looking for content for their rich snippets or the most relevant content for their users, because this information updates as close to real time as possible, it provides that data to Google to really bring the relevance of your content above the others. So it can have a real tangible effect on your SEO programs. It can help drive you your rankings up in the list. And in some cases, it's not a for sure, but it can allow you to jump into those rich snippets that really provide value to the end user and drive a lot of traffic to your site.
So basically, this is what I heard, that the module is going to be plugged into your site, using of course our TrueWeb platform, and you're going to be able to customize that data that's refreshing constantly as frequently as you want to be able to provide Google the answers that it needs for the questions that people are providing or the questions that people are asking. That in itself gives you power that most websites would only dream of. And again, typically it's only the largest sites, the largest organizations that already have massive amounts of data that can do stuff like this. But because of the data sources that we have, we now take that data and use it on your website to put your site on steroids, which ultimately is going to result in more leads. We want more leads, more sales. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring down that average cost of acquisition of a client and just keep driving in the business. That's ultimately what this does. And this is why this announcement is so exciting, is because for the first time, never before has a broker had this kind of power on their website. And now it's available to all brokers. And that's only one of the first announcements that we're doing for TrueWeb, for our TrueWeb products. Our second announcement on TrueWeb is our accessibility module. Now, we know that a few months ago, even maybe a couple of years ago, certain governments, certain jurisdictions announced that they're going to be requiring all businesses to have accessibility on their website. Basically, the ability for the website to be used and seen by people that have limited functionality, that have certain disabilities and whatnot. This is now mandatory, and it's starting mandatory first in Ontario. Well, we're so proud to announce that we've built a module that we can plug in not just into the true web, onto our true web platform, onto our websites, but we can actually plug this module into any website and help make your website accessible so that you're meeting all of those government compliance, the government compliance, what the government requires, in an online world. And I'm going to invite Dave back to explain that for us as the leader for True Web. Dave, back to you.
Thanks, Sharif. So anyone that's managing a website will understand the accessibility requirements that are basically evolving from a regulatory standpoint with governments. The most aggressive of which is the AODA standards that the Ontario government has put in place. They have a mandate to basically be the most aggressive in making sure that the digital experience for Canadians is above the standard of anywhere else in the world. So if you have a website, and the initial deadline was January 1st of 2021, which just passed here. So that deadline is passed, and that basically requires, and this gets a little bit technical, but it requires anyone that has a business of 50 or more employees to basically meet the WCAG AA standard, which give me a couple minutes and we could go through all the regulations if you're ever interested, but I guarantee you're not. What we wanted our platform from a true web standpoint to be is to meet that AA standard that the aggressive policy for Ontario is dictating that everyone has to meet. And that's kind of what we have attained on our platform. So our platform out of the box will meet this WCAG AA standard and all the requirements that come with that related to how it communicates with people using your website, the contrast of colors, and all these things that are very difficult to manage as a business owner and trying to understand what you have to conform to here. So anyone moving onto our platform will be able to get this WCAG. Sharif also, as he said, we have a plugin that will allow anyone that has an existing website to work towards these and eventually move on to our platform to meet these regulatory guidelines. Now, one thing that just came in the news this week is that the Ontario government has moved their filing deadline for meeting these standards to June 30th. So this does give people some breathing room, but this is a very important topic that will be part of the news and part of what's discussed over the next year.
Amazing. And the best part about this is that, again, you don't have to be on the True Web platform. We're thinking about brokers from every perspective. We want to make sure brokers are set up to win, that they meet the regulatory requirements. And although it's only starting in Ontario, it is talked about in every province across the country. So every province is going to have these standards. And, now's as good a time as any to jump on this, to make sure your website is accessible by anyone who needs that information. That only is, that's good business, right? That you're providing your service and your product to anyone that needs it. So you can reach out to us for that. It's available right away, and we're so excited to make that announcement. The last announcement that we're making for True Web today, one that's going to be, it's a little bit further down the road. Q3-ish, is the timing. That's what we've kind of put as an internal time for it, is our predictive rating. This one's different. So what we kind of found in the market right now, that if somebody is looking for a quote, if they're looking for a home quote, they're looking for an auto quote, they're looking for recreational vehicles, whatever it may be, there's two ways to do it right now. Way number one, door number one, is you have a form on your website. You fill out the form. The lead goes into a broker. The broker then takes in that lead, does the quote, calls you back with the pricing. Kind of leaves the client hanging a bit because they're not really getting the answer that they want. Behind door number two is web rating. But we know that's not really the greatest experience for the customer because while door number one, may only have, 6 or 7 questions. Door number 2 has like 30 questions and they want to know everything. And you don't get a price until you fill everything in. And although there are a lot of tools that will do pre-fill and whatnot for some information, what we've learned is that a lot of times the consumer doesn't want to give identifiable information to them. They're not ready to share that yet until they know, is this kind of the road that I want to go down? Unless they answer those 30 questions, they're not going, they may not be giving that information, which is why we find a lot of brokers tell us that they have quotes that fall off kind of, midway. So we thought, okay, here's a little bit of an opening. Again, how can we use data to fill that gap, that kind of middleware? Last year at IBAO, Trufla, we demoed a tool that we built using AI called True Predictor. And so what the predictor tool was is basically, and we did it for auto, so we started with auto. Basically, you could put in 5 pieces of information, non-identifiable information. So you didn't have to put in your name, your date of birth, your driver's license, anything like that. All you had to put in was your age, whether you were male or female, what postal code you live in, and the make and model of your vehicle. And we were able to give you a rate to within 92% accuracy. And we were showing it all throughout the conference. So people were just amazed, like it was unbelievable. And not only that, but we were able to predict what the cover was. What was the coverage that, people that typically live in this postal code or people that are like you would typically have for their, for their policies on those vehicles. So we demoed it. It went very cool. And so we thought, okay, what if we took that same idea, that predictive idea, and turned it into a tool for brokers to use on their websites? So now it's available. Well, it's going to be available. It is coming out later this year as a module on TrueWeb. What you'll be able to do as a your client, after they've found you on Google or they've found you however, and they've gone to your website and they want to get an indicative quote, they'll be able to put in very little information and you'll be able to get a quote, at least indicative pricing. You can make it clear that it's indicative pricing. And if they continue down the road, then at that point that that's a pretty hot lead, that what they've seen, they liked, and they want to go down the road. They'll likely share a lot more information, because one of the things we get asked often is, well, how do you sift through kind of garbage quotes and good quotes? How can you tell what's hot and what's not? This is one of those ways, and it fills this gap right in the middle to be able to give that person an indicative quote without having to answer 30 questions and without having to wait either. And it just gives your website that much more credibility. And again, I'm going to turn it over to Dave to give us a little bit more information about that and what that means on the TrueWeb platform.
Thanks, Sharif. So again, this is an exciting announcement. The demo that we did over a year ago got us really excited about the potential for this technology. So it's pulling together basically the data and trying to build out that experience on the website. So again, this is going to be a module that will be able to be added on to anyone that has a TrueWeb website. And we look at it as part of the quote process. So on specific products, this is something that we managing the TrueWeb websites get many requests weekly, which is, I have all these leads coming through. How do I know which ones I should touch first? Well, this is going to be our answer to that. So it will be a module that will be able to be added in front of a lead form, in front of a quoter, basically as a qualification tool. So as Sharif said, we will be able to play with the amount of data that we're pulling into the form to get that reliability of the quote that's coming out of it. And we'll be looking to do that across at least home and auto, and hopefully some other products soon as well. And this will be something that will, we feel, have a very tangible effect on the operations and qualifying the leads that are going into your operational systems internally and helping your team prioritize and get to those things. So again, it's going to be a simple module for you to add on, and we'll have that available early in Q3.
The next announcement is actually really big for us. Last year, we took a lot of time and it took us quite a bit to rebuild our True Mobile product, right, to kind of bring it to where it is right now, something we're so excited about. We're about to do the same thing for our TrueLeads product. And that's the first announcement we're doing for TrueLeads, is that this year is a huge rebuild year for us for TrueLeads. We're basically going into TrueLeads version 2.0. TrueLeads, it's been a great product helping brokers kind of manage the leads, but we know that there's a lot more that's needed with the product. And so we've decided this is the year we're going to embark on a whole rebuild. And who better to talk about that rebuild than our VP of Development, Wasim Salib, who we dub as the brain here at Trufla. I'm going to turn it over to you, Wasim, to talk about the rebuild of TrueLeads.
Well, thanks, Sharif. Let me first start by introducing myself quickly. My name is Wasim Salib, VP Development. Been working with Trufla for 5 years, coming with a background of 12 plus years in the industry of software development, and really have been into the insurance industry for 5 years, and really kind of been excited by the potential that's available right there. So TrueLeads V2, what is it? What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? So quickly, in a nutshell here, TrueLeads has been a great tool for us on the kind of external side, integrating with our TrueWeb product, getting all those leads, the efficiency on managing the leads, and all this has been great. But also, we've been trying to see what happens after we get the lead, right? Internally, what happens in TrueLeads, and the process in the operations, the day-to-day operations of you as a brokerages, and how can we beef all this up? And this will be our focus in 2.0. Well, don't worry, you're getting all the features that you used to have in the TrueLeads V1, but it's even more than that. We're going to help you once you get the lead, depending on the nature of the insurance product you sell, to increase the efficiency, increase the automation, increase the operations that you always need to sell your product on the tool. We're going to focus on more integrations with third parties, mainly insurance companies, or third parties within the insurance industry, that helps you quickly go through the full process of selling and converting, and not only selling, but also even beyond selling. Like, how are you going to manage the client servicing part, right? All of you might know right now that we have a feature in True Mobile where you can receive change requests and claims, and all this is nice and great, but also the operational side of this, the process, the life cycle, what happens after this. And we want to bring all this within TrueLeads 2.0. And just moving to TrueLeads 1.0 gives us that versatility, that the foundation that helps us kind of build all this. And imagine now you have your kind of, think of it as like your store that you use to sell your insurance through. So this is our plan for TrueLeads. Once we rebuild the system and go to the new system, you will be adding. We will be helping you to quickly kind of adopt more insurance products on the platform. So this is really what's in TrueLeads 2.0.
Thanks, Wasim. TrueLeads version 2.0 is something we're so excited about. And we knew it was so important because actually, as it is right now, version 1 of TrueLeads, we're working on a little project with one of the largest brokerages in the world that we're using TrueLeads, kind of building a lot of their Lloyd's type products onto it so that they're using it internally as well for either leads that come in, externally, or using it as an internal tool. So that kind of it was part of the foundation of where we wanted to take TrueLeads. And of course, we've got brokers that are involved in this right now that are providing us input so that we know exactly, what TrueLeads needs to be from the time that lead enters your brokerage to how you can manage it efficiently so that it mirrors and matches your operations. So you're gaining maximum efficiency out of it to be able to efficiently fulfill that order for the client and bind that policy and really increase your sales. So that's the first announcement. That's coming this year. By the end of the year, we'll have launched version 2 of TrueLeads. It is a big build, so it is going to take us a little bit of time to get there. Second thing we want to announce that we've been talking about a lot, and this is actually, it is going to be built in TrueLeads, but it's actually across kind of all of our product platforms, is around data reporting. We know how important reporting is for brokers. We know how important reporting is for any business. If you don't have good reporting, you're not managing your business properly, and reporting really has to do with how the data is displayed to you. So in all of our products, starting with True Leads, True Web, and then True Mobile, we're going to be enhancing all of our reporting. And again, to explain that and to get into more technical details, I'm going to turn it back over to Wasim. Wasim, over to you to talk about the data reporting enhancements.
Well, thanks, Sharif. Well, I have to say, this is the kind of most exciting part for me. I don't get enough talking about data, and especially across all of our products. So let's talk here more about how are we going to approach it. What are we going to do here? So we have a kind of reporting right now across all our products, but it's been kind of siloed in every product. And what are we trying to do here is we're trying to build this kind of centralized reporting place where all of your data within the ecosystem of Trufla, and maybe even outside Trufla, that come in, and then you get to see the 360 view of your operations. And the whole idea behind this is we need to start by giving you not just reporting in terms of giving you the data, but even giving you like a reporting tool that helps you build what you want. And we want this tool to cater for all different sizes and levels and types of brokers. It starts from the small brokers who wants to know what kind of even reports I need to be looking at, and give you some reports out of the box that get you going, but even also all the way, if you have a full kind of data analysis, data scientists in your house, and you have like a full team, and you want to kind of like use all this to build very rich, powerful reports, you use the tool, right? Of course, it will come into phases, but eventually what we're trying to get to is reporting, rich data, and then analytics on top of this, and then eventually get to those very rich dashboards that caters to every role in the brokerage, caters to every business, and we need the reporting to be your partner.
Wasim, I'm gonna interrupt you for a minute because I want you to clarify something, just to make sure that everyone who's listening kind of gets this. So what you're saying is, this tool is not only going to give you visibility into kind of the data inside your brokerage, so whether it's around your clients, your premium, retention, the risks and whatnot, but you'll be able to bring in data from external sources as well, including maybe it's your Google Analytics data, maybe it's data from other third-party sources that you want to tie into, and tie it all into one place where you can create your own reports, however basic or advanced that you want, with visualizations and everything. Am I explaining that right?
Yes, that's exactly right, Sharif. You worded perfectly. So yes, what we're trying to do here is you at your brokerage, you use so many different tools, and we know that it's never going to be a one system cuts it all, and you will need and you will have to use those different tools. But what we're trying to help you out with here is kind of put an Xray on top of all this, and you gotta see like how all this comes together. I know earlier we've been talking about True Web and all that kind of interesting stuff happening in it, and the data we're collecting and the analytics there, and that's exactly what we're trying to do is we bring all this together and try to give you like one of the use cases that eventually we want to get to at the end of the road here. The end game is you get to see that the whole journey of the user coming from the moment he gets to your website, maybe even before he puts any data into the website, all the way until he becomes a client of yours, right? And not only just the insurance data that we're talking about in terms of reporting, we're talking also about the behavioral data. Of course, this will come into phases. So I know everyone is getting excited now, but we will start by first beefing up the current reporting that we have in every product, trying to also build a vision for centralizing it, moving into a centralized reporting tool, and then move the data that we have currently right now into the centralized place, look into how can we give you even more visual representation of this data, more dashboards and stuff like this. And then later down the road, we'll look into, okay, what are the external sources of data that we can bring in, and we need to make all this look holistic and seamless to you as a broker.
I mean, being a broker and working with brokers, I know one of the challenges that a broker always has is, you know, it's around data and reporting, and how many different reports can you pull out of any system that you have right now and convert it into Excel, and then have all these if this then that inside the Excel just to get the data that you want. Now you'll be able to have a tool that allows you, like Wasim said, a full 360 from the time they enter your site to how they service, and all those data points are going to be available to you to be able to cut up, display, and use that intelligence internally to constantly optimize your operation and be as efficient as possible. So data is the second piece that we're announcing with TrueLeads today. The third one, which again, big one, big announcement that we're so excited about. And this is something that we'd kind of been shying away from for a number of years, but now we know this is such an important piece. We've had brokers ask us for this so many times. This is the year we're doing it. BMS integration. We are going to be building an integration between all the various BMSs. We're already talking with many of the BMSs out there, so that we can have an integration to be able to either get information from or put information into using various tools. A lot of the BMS vendors are becoming much more open to be able to tying into other tools, and this is something that we are absolutely so excited to be doing, so that we can absolutely complement the systems that are there right now and enhance what a broker is doing to give them even more punch. And I know this is another one Wasim's excited to talk about, so I'm going to flip it back to him to talk a little bit more about the BMS integration.
Thanks, Reef. Yes, I mean, we're super thrilled about this as well, because again, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just data. But really what's happening here is a lot of you might know that we've been getting most of our data from the main feed, which is CSIO. But what's going to happen here and how this will kind of all come together? Well, let me tell you, it's not like either one of them will replace the other. What we're trying to do here is we're trying, again, use all the sources possible to give this complete image, complete picture of the policy, complete 360 view about the client file. And we understand that more brokers will have more leniency towards CSIO, more other brokers will have more leniency towards BMSs, and will never make it like hard that you have to use one over the other. We'll try to kind of be versatile and when we do this, and how both can come together to complete each other. That the way we're trying to approach this is, first, we've been parsing CZ data for like 5 years, and what we're trying to do here is we bring over the missing pieces of data, complete each other. So the first thing we'll be focusing on is how can we integrate with the BMSs to bring mainly the missing pieces of information about the client file. And once we get this part over, the next step we'll be looking into is like, okay, now how can we mesh the different sources of data, whether it's a BMS or CSIO, and then come with a complete image of the policy about the client. And then the next step would be, okay, we have been doing this for mostly home and auto. How can we expand this to move to other lines of business, move to non-personal policies, commercial, maybe small commercial, and get that kind of other data that we don't usually get from CSIO, so that now becomes a one single central place for you to self-serve your clients. They can come in the same app, they get to see their commercial insurance next to their personal insurance at the same place. And then the third stage to this would be, okay, well, now we've been getting the data, but also we understand that you'd like to keep a record, or we'd like to keep your BMS up to date. And how can we also leverage the BMS integration to create this two-way synchronization? When you create a file in your True Mobile, or you create an update or send an email, or change request comes in, claims comes in, how can all this kind of bring it back into the BMS and have the data up to date everywhere.
And that's the thing. I mean, what we hear from brokers often is, you know, there's a lot of data that's in the download that comes in, the daily download, the EDI download that comes in from Sysio, from the carriers, that isn't displayed necessarily in the BMS, you know, and there's a bunch of data that isn't displayed on our side as well, you know, that sits in the BMS. So being able to sync up those two worlds again, so that we can give brokers that holistic view of the client. And being able, you know, if a client, you know, logs into your mobile app, that's recorded. If they've, you know, they send in a request, that's recorded. All of that, you know, that two-way integration is so important for brokers. We know it is. And that's why we're trying to build tools to complement what you have, enhance it, and make you more efficient. So the BMS integration, huge one. That's going to be coming out Q3 of this year. You know, there's so much with that we're going to be able to do. So that kind of covers off the, what did we cover off? We covered off the Truescore, we covered off TrueWeb, and we covered off TrueLeads. And I'm now going to move into True Mobile, which is something that is near and dear to my heart. It's the product that, you know, that we started with from the very beginning, that kind of kicked it off. So I'm going to take this one on because I'm so excited to talk about some of the features and things that are coming with True Mobile. So True Mobile, you know, I'm so passionate about it, you know, because, you know, for us, you know, for our brokerage, you know, from the beginning, it really what kicked off the you know, our hunger for technology, you know, and something we've been working on for so many years. It's been such a challenge, but we're so proud of where it's come, what we've been able to do with it. And there's so much more we want to do. I mean, we rebuilt the True Mobile platform last year so that we can continually add more and more to it to make it as valuable for your customer as possible. Because let's be honest, customers aren't going to be that excited to download a mobile app for insurance. They're not. Like it's just not something that they really want. But if we can put more and more functionality and features and things in there that are relevant to the customer and to you, the broker, then they are going to use it, and you are going to notice a big difference in how you service your clients. You know, and it's just great. So the first thing we focused on. So yes, we rebuilt it last year, but what we did, and anyone who's using True Mobile is actually going to see this change coming in the next kind of 3-4 weeks. Is we absolutely beefed up the security around True Mobile. We'd already beefed up the security quite a bit. We hired Ernst & Young about 18 months ago, who did a kind of a full assessment. We've redone all of our security internally because we know we're protecting our brokers' data. But then we thought, okay, you know, as it stands right now, the way a client you know, registers and signs up or anything, you know, if somebody gets a hold of their username, password, whatever, they really somebody could have access to that sensitive data. So we beefed up the security on the client side. Put two-factor authentication in there as well, because we know, especially you know, in a COVID world, that increase in cybersecurity activity, the breaches that have happened, lots more phishing and scams. And if somebody kind of gets that username and password, there's a lot of data that your clients have. That's being stored there that we display to them. We want to make sure that's secure. So we're putting out, you know, even more enhancements to the security, and really making it robust, you know, on top of all the encryptions and kind of everything that we have on the data to make sure that's fully, you know, that's fully protected. Very first thing. Second thing we're announcing, which is something we actually wanted to announce last year, couldn't get to it last year, but it's now going to be coming out this year, in Q2 of this year, is email communications. We have absolutely overhauled, or are overhauling, our entire communications platform with respect to True Mobile and and using your data in that communications. Basically, you're going to be able to have notifications to your clients every time there's a new transaction. So every time there's a download from Sysio, and of course, a broker will have full control on that. If it's a new policy, if it's a renewal, if it's a change request, whatever, it'll be able to send those emails out to the customer, but not just a basic email, but a rich HTML email. It'll be fully customizable for the broker. They'll put their own branding in it. They can put data sources in it. Let me paint a picture here for you. A couple of examples. Let's say, I mean, obviously the easy ones are, new business, renewals, change requests, everything. You'll be able to attach the documents to it, pink cards, whatever it may be. That's kind of the easy stuff. But imagine now a world where you could take your data, cut it up in certain ways, and start sending targeted emails to your clients. What if you were able to quickly, in seconds, pull a list of all your clients that only had home insurance, and you're in a private insurance province like Alberta or Ontario, and you wanted to push, send an email to them offering them auto insurance, or vice versa? Or what if you wanted to send, an email to all of your clients who have home insurance, talking about, with a specific carrier? Let's say it's with a specific carrier who just came out with a new endorsement for sewer backup, or change the limits, or flood insurance, whatever it may be, and you wanted to send an email specific to those clients with their home, on their policy. You will have the power to do that. Or let's say you wanted to send an email for everyone who has 1 million liability, and you wanted to send them a very specific email to up them to 2 million liability. Whatever it is, any of that data in there, you'll be able to cut up that data, create a rich HTML email on top of it, send it out to your clients, and then manage it. That's the key. We're going to give you all the metrics, the open rates, the ability, of course, for your clients to unsubscribe, whatever it may be. Anything that any of the powerful tools like a MailChimp, or whatever would have, you're going to have all that inside of the True Mobile back end to be able to send out all those emails, really manage it, whether it's, I almost tripped there, whether it's birthdays, for example, so many different things. It'll all be managed in there. You create the templates. We're going to have templates that are already in there, or you can custom create with images, videos, attachment, whatever it may be. You're in full control, but now you're using your data in a way that you've never been able to use. And one of the ones we were talking about that's really simple is just sending out payment reminders, because the payment data is in there. We know the payment data is in there. We can send customized emails to the client a week before their payment is due, saying, hey, don't forget, your payment is due next week. Make sure the money's in there. Anything to help a broker reduce cancellations, increase touch points, improve sales, cross-selling, whatever it may be. The world is your oyster. This one's so exciting for us, because you're going to have full control, and you don't need to have a team that does it internally. Again, we're going to build all these templates out. We're going to build out so many different templates for a broker to be able to plug in, just put your logo in, whatever, and then you just plug in the data sources. And we're making it so easy for a broker to be able to do that. This is something that regular communication, that touch point, so important for to maintain that relationship between broker and their client. So that's the second one. Again, really big announcement. That's coming out Q2 of this year. Watch for that one. We're so excited about that one. The last thing that we're going to be announcing for True Mobile this year, again, really big feature, something we've been working on for so long, and trying to think of ways to use the data to enhance a broker's operations and give them a whole different type of visibility that they've never had. So in Q3 of this year, we're going to be releasing a tool to brokers and True Mobile brokers called the Broker Xray. Well, what's the Broker Xray? We've done an analysis on the data, and what we're going to be able to do is basically give a broker the ability to look at each individual client, and we're basically going to color code each individual client. Well, color code based on what? Well, pretty simple: red, yellow, green. You look at your client. If they have green beside that client, that means they're priced really well, and actually they're probably underpriced for what somebody that looks like them in that territory, that has similar lifestyle, vehicles, home, whatever it may be, that you're probably leaving some money on the table, and you could optimize that client by either increasing limits, selling more product, additional endorsements, things that's going to protect them a little bit more and bringing more money into your brokerage. If they're yellow, that means, you know what, they're kind of middle of the pack, they're good. If they went out and shopped, they're probably not going to find anything better. You're in a good place there. Red means, uh-oh. If this client goes out and shops, you're in trouble. If they go out, using, kind of similar to how they look, and they went out and shopped, you're likely going to lose that client because they're probably paying less, in that market using, certain data points. So that's the indicator to say, listen, this is a client you want to remarket. So what we're trying to do is get brokers to focus on the clients that we think are most at risk, that they're most likely to use, because what we know in the industry, statistically, if you can improve your retention by 5%, you will double the profitability of your brokerage. Improving your retention by 5% doubles the profitability of your brokerage. So if we can help you improve that retention rate by giving you indicators on a client-by-client basis, whether you're leaving money on the table or whether they're likely to leave, that's a tool and a power that brokers have never, ever had. And we're going to be able to offer you that Q3 in the back end of the True Mobile platform. Again, it's using your data to be able to make sure you understand, what the risks and what's good and what's bad, the risks, the rewards, right? Where you can earn more and where you might lose some money, so you can pivot accordingly. On top of that, we're going to have inside of that tool, you'll be able to instantly re-rate your clients. So if you wanted to rate the client, if you wanted to re-rate every single one of your clients every year, the tool will take the data of that client, put it through a rating engine, and give you the rate for each client. So each individual broker doesn't have to go through the whole arduous process of having to re-rate a client. You don't have to do it on every client. Maybe you want to do it on everyone who's a red, but quickly you'll just be able to go into it and it'll give you the rating based on the markets that you have. And if you need to go in there and do tweaks because there's certain updates and stuff that that hasn't been captured in the data download or whatever, you'll be able to do that. But most of the work is done for you. And what we're trying to do is save brokers as much time as possible for re-rating their clients so that we can give them the ability to be in front of their clients more. They're armed with the new rates. They're armed with the new products that's available to be able to sell more, to save more. The idea is to improve retention, improve sales, cross-sell. I mean, that's what it's all about. And again, these are the tools that we're constantly thinking about on how to make brokers the best medium possible to distribute insurance. We want to use the power of your own data to help you sell more and retain more. And it hasn't been done like this before. I mean, I know a lot of the tools that are available out there on the market. There's nothing like this available to be able to use that for your brokerage. Again, this year for us is a huge year. We've been building so much over the last few years. There's so much that's coming that we've announced today that is coming this year. Please reach out to us. We're so excited to talk to you and help optimize your brokerage. Thank you for attending Amplify. The last 2 days have been amazing. It's been, I hope you found value in it, from all of our speakers, from all the different tidbits that they gave. Again, Trufla is all about being for brokers, by brokers. You're all we think about. Brokers are the best medium for distribution of insurance, and we're just going to keep proving it. Thanks so much for joining Amplify. We'll see you at the next one.